Hi there, I'm Steph the Video Guy. Here's a review of the Samsung Discover. Take a look at it. It's not that big of a unit. I'm going to show a comparison with my other phone. This is the S2, and it's not as big as the S3. But if you look at them side by side, you can see it's quite a bit smaller. I'll show you the screen on that in a while. But I wanted to show you it. It's a little tricky opening up, but there we go. So it's got a pretty standard size battery that's replaceable. You can buy a couple of these, so that way if you're on a long trip or you don't have accessibility, you can throw another one of these bad boys in. I really like the way that it accepts your little memory cards, the micro SDs. It's just a little push in, and it's really simple to remove. You do have to take the back case off though, but that's not too bad. So we got the speaker and the camera on the back. I'm not gonna lie, the camera on these are not terribly awesome, but it does the job. There's no flash on it, so you're not going to get very clear images in low light, but the sound that comes out through the earphones is nice and clear. I don't mind it. Using one of these guys as an MP3 player is really great because, of course, they got that you can use external memory, and the player on these is adequate. I'll crank her on. The vibration is a little loud, but it's it's a standard vibration. Oh, there's our startup sound. It's a bit of a slow startup on this guy. It's relatively powerful for a small and cheap device, but yeah, definitely has a bit of a slower startup compared to, say, the S2. This is running 4.04, Android's a little bit older OS, and it's not bad. It's got all of the a lot of the functionality of the modern OS, but it's snappy enough. As I start it up here, you'll see it's not as pretty as the new OSs. It doesn't have a lot of bling, as it were. So here's some quickies. It's got Bluetooth, of course, and GPS. The flip option, so that way you can flip it, I think. Let's see if it was working a little bit before. So if I turn that on, there we go. Let's see. Yeah, it's not flipping for me. Maybe once I'm within something. So let's say, yeah, it doesn't want to. Oh, there it flipped. It's just probably still doing its startup. So it did flip, and so that's all right. Oh, that's a super backup. I use a super backup as a good way to back up my chats and back up my contacts. I know Google does a pretty good job of backing up syncing and all that jazz, but I like to back up my texts. Yeah, it's quite handy. The phone function is quite good. I like the way that this phone I never pocket dialed on me, so I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, obviously they're perfecting that, and this phone was always pretty good for that. The battery does last a decent amount of time too. Let's see. I'm just going to go up into the settings. Standard settings for Android. You see wireless. Using this guy with wireless, it's nice and fast. So definitely, it's a nice unit if you basically just want to browse the internet and that sort of stuff. About phone. I don't have a SIM in here, but there's the information. Android version 4.04, SGHS730M. One thing I'll notice about this guy is that it doesn't have a physical button like the Ace does. I believe it's the Samsung Ace that's a similar looking phone, but it's got an actual physical home button. This, you basically just, in dark areas, you need this to show you where it is. At least there's only 3 on this. There's 4 on the S2, if you notice that. That's the S2X. The S2 actually does have a physical button, but the S2X doesn't. So what I find is that if the battery runs a little low, the lights turn off, and sometimes you're hitting home when you're trying to hit back. It comes with a standard amount of widgets and apps. YouTube runs really nicely on this phone, which is handy. Pretty quick. The record function is good. You get one of those smart voice recorders, and it'll really record nice and crisp. Surprisingly so. The mic in this is actually quite good. As a videographer, I'm pretty sensitive to that, and it sounds really nice, surprisingly. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff on here that is standard. VLC works pretty decently on this, so it'll play pretty much any video you want. Yeah, it's a nice little phone. You see that little transition too, right? So it transitions out, it zooms in, zooms out. That's pretty nice. Yeah, one thing is it doesn't play. It won't play any of the modern games. Yeah, anything with that needs graphics, really, it just won't play them. Any of the Facebook games, really. But that's okay. I mean, this phone is a phone. That's pretty much what you've got. A couple of options with the smartphone features, but really, if you're looking for an inexpensive phone, this is the one to go for. You want something for maybe something for your kids, or something as a backup phone, maybe. Pick up one of these. I bought this one used, and it never failed me. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. I just wanted a little bit more real estate. I'll show you the differences in the screens, just because it's a pretty. That's the reason why I upgraded. If you look at the screen differences, balance these out here. The OS looks quite similar, but see the size? It's an inch taller, just a little bit wider. You just have so much more real estate if you're, texting is so much easier on the larger phones, right? Because you can, I've got big fingers, so you need to be able to hit those buttons. Yeah. So that's it. I'd have to give it, for what kind of phone it is, I'd have to give this guy, I'm going to say 7 out of 10, because for what it is, it's fantastic. It's a good value. It's a good value phone. My opinion would be that it's nice for someone who doesn't demand too much out of a phone. I use my phone for work, emails. I need a little bit more real estate than this gives me. I need a little bit more screen, and but for a backup or a phone that you don't demand a lot out of, it's a great little phone. Thanks a lot for checking this out. Please subscribe to my channel, and if you have any questions or if you want me to review something, let me know. But take it easy.